But now I want to know, like, I want to get more into your actual transition, because you said at 13, you and your mom had that conversation about you
Yeah,
like it prefer, your preferences, right? So before we get to that, what do you identify as? I want to make sure I establish that.
I identify as trans, non-binary. But see, this is the thing. It's been a whole conversation circulating around about how non-binary people are not trans. Yes, they are trans. And if
Hmm.
you go and you look at conversations with, I love her to death. Shout outs to Hope Giselle.
India.
She broke it
Oh,
down elaborately because there are so many things, with gender and what it's supposed to look like and who's supposed to be a woman and who's supposed to be this. Non-binary people can identify however they want to under the spectrum. It's in their eyes. So
okay.
I identify as that, but more
Okay.
woman than anything.
Oh,
Her
yes.
pronoun.
Absolutely. Because I thought you meant we was using a reference. I thought you were gonna say, what's her name? India, the one from Poles, Angel from Poles. I thought you were gonna say
Yes,
her.
India Moore. That's
India
another good
Moore.
example as well.
Yeah.
And pansexual. For those of you who are out there who don't know what that is we're in this category of breaking it
Yes.
down.
Yes. Yeah, break it down.
Brady just came out of
Yes.
pansexual. So
Hmm.
I mean, gender freedom of expression. You are free to identify and express yourself in any way, and no one can take that away from you. So trans, non-binary,
Trans non-binary. What are your pronouns?
she, her, and
She, her.
Faith. I got a story to tell you about that.
Okay.
Because when I was doing one of my interviews on the show, one of my guests did the respectful thing. And this is what everybody needs to do. If you're not sure of what someone's pronouns are, ask them. It was a gentleman, it was an actor, not going to say his name, but he asked me before we went on, what pronouns would you prefer? And I said, she, her. He said, boom, say less. That's the respectful thing to do is ask
Yeah.
someone without just jumping up and saying. So, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So, she, her, Miss Stevie,
Mhm.
transgender, non-binary. Duly noted. Now, I just want to get more into your transition because, like I said before, at 13. So, when did you know that you wanted to change your assignment, so to speak? That you knew that this is not Jay was not where you wanted to be or who you were. How did that process go? Wanted to establish the process.
Yeah, growing up like that. Oh my
Hmm.
God. Watching my mom. My mom is always the blueprint is always the woman who's raised you, my mother. Watching her, she would get her hair done, she would get her makeup done. And that's then where I'm just like, I don't feel like I'm in the right body. I don't feel like I'm one of the other boys or kids per se. I feel something is very different about 13 years old. And I went and I would talk to my mom about these funny feelings that I'm having. She's just like, as any, you're different. There's something different about you. And that doesn't make you any other different than the other kids, except that you are your own authentic self. And so watching my mom get ready, put her makeup on, because my mom would wear makeup at the time, her foundation and a little lipstick. My sister too, she would get her hair done for prom or whatever. But she's just graduating high school, already out.
Oh,
So
okay.
me coming into my own, it was through them. They were the catalyst for me. My sister and my mom were the catalyst for me to say, okay, this is not this person right here is not. And it's time for me to walk into my life and be who I am. So at 13 years old was when I came out, when I started slowly discovering myself. I started wearing makeup and I would have to hurry up. I can remember I could tell you guys stories about that as well too, because it was so funny. Faith. Coming home from beauty school, I would have to because my mom would check my face every day. She let me see your face. I would wear makeup even in high school. And in that picture you could tell from high school,
Right.
I would wearing makeup, a little bit of gloss, and then the
Mm.
brows were very pencil thin. Hideous, by the way. I wouldn't do that ever again. But I would always have to hurry up if I'm going to beauty school or whatever. And thank God we got water in there and wash my face so that mom wouldn't tell that I was wearing makeup. Sorry, mommy, if you're seeing this. But yes, now she just doesn't care. When she sees the makeup on me, she's just like, make my face up like that. So now
Wow.
we have a good rapport. She sees the makeup on me, and now it's just like, do my face up. if I'm going somewhere, because I did her makeup for a class reunion and she got a
Oh,
bunch of compliments.
and she got and
A
she
lot.
served it up. Yeah,
Yes.
so
So she gave
yeah,
me the assignment. She's like, this is the precursor right here. So 13 years old was the precursor for me transitioning, coming into my own, having conversations with my mom, watching her being the catalyst, being the blueprint for me. Because let's be real, every trans person or non binary person or any queer person has a catalyst that has come before them. And it can be
right,
your mom, it can be your father, watching certain things that they would do. And it was my mom and my sister for me, watching them get their hair and makeup done. And that's how I studied and perfected my craft with doing hair and makeup artistry and fashion. And my mom now is like, you can't keep her out of certain things. We share
mhm.
outfits now, Faith. So she
Wow.
raids my closet, girl.
Mhm.
And I raid her sometimes. So it's amazing to have such a great connection and rapport with young people
Yes.
after talking with them, because let's keep it a buck. As you said earlier, it's not easy for children who are in the LGBTQIA plus community, because 9 times out of 10, their parents will disown them, that they
Yes.
find out they are, or they feel like a failure, or they haven't done something right, you know? So that wasn't the case for me. I was thankful to have my mother there supporting, but as for my father, it was a complete different
Totally different. Totally
yeah,
different. But how did you know, Miss Stevie? Okay, I know you mentioned about, you use your mother and your sister as a model
yeah.
of what you wanted to become, but how did you know at that time? I just wanna kinda get your more into your thought processes. How did you know that you wanted to be a girl? Like, you wanted to become
I always wanted to be a girl.
like, how did you know? Like, it's
Watching
had to be something that really like, not just, you watching your mom, but it had to be something on your own thought process to say, "You know what? This is not my assignment, or this is not where who I am, or, I wanna become this girl." Like, what was your, thought process at that time? Like, how did you know? How did you figure that out?
my femininity, my internal femininity on the inside. I noticed that I wasn't like other boys at that time. I'm like, okay, they're playing sports. I don't really like sports like that. At one point in time, like I said, I played soccer, but here I am now in middle school. I like arts and crafts, and that doesn't mean anything for anybody. Anybody can like arts and crafts, but you're just like, it's something inside you that is different. You like makeup, you're coloring your hair. That doesn't mean anything either. So you're checking off all of the check marks. And it's just like in your heart, deep down inside, I knew I was destined to be a woman, because I have the heart of a woman, the soul of a woman, of a girl at that time. Not a girl, not a woman, but a girl at that time. You're walking into your own femininity, and then you're slowly coming out of that shift. So I came out around that time as well too. And my mom was just like, hey, you got it from here. So
Mm,
that's just from inside, just from my mind, my thoughts, I would write about these things. And I can remember going back and looking at my journal entries like, okay, from then to now, what is it? What is it that makes you want to be a woman? Is it because you feel women get better treatment? Is it because you don't feel as though you're in the right body? And for me, it was like I felt I was in the wrong body, and still do to this day. Anybody can suffer from gender dysmorphia. But those of you who
yes.
don't know what it is, where it's just like you feel born. You see these stories where people say, I don't feel like I'm in the right body. I don't feel you know, like I'm normal. And for me, that was the case. I suffered with gender dysphoria
Mm.
and always to feel accepted for people. So I'm just like, if I became a woman, I would probably be accepted. But they were just like, we could love you less. We don't care if you're man, woman, whatever, dog, cat. We love and appreciate.
And that is
And
so
I'm so
commendable.
thankful to have people in my life. And I think every queer person out there, surround yourself with people who uplift you and want the best for you. And at the time, that's something that I left out. I didn't tell you, Faith. You was like, who were the people that helped? We had a guidance counselor at middle school. Shout outs to Miss Thomas. And I would always go and talk with her about all of my different emotions and feelings. And she was not only a guidance counselor, but she was a psychiatrist as well too.
Okay, okay.
And you go and you talk with a psychiatrist, and they get in your head and they ask you the same questions that Faith is asking, like, what made you want to do this? Why do you feel this way? And I would just go and pour into her. And shout outs to Miss Thomas. Mm, I don't know where she is right now, but
Mhm,
she has been a beacon, a support system. My
mm,
mom has too. It's amazing to be surrounded by Black women who know how you feel and who support you throughout the process. I just got through having a conversation with my aunt about pronouns as well too. And they were like, you didn't have to tell us anything. We already knew. Just like men said,
mm.
they already knew.
I already
Women
knew.
know
Yes.
these things.
Yeah.
Woman's intuition. They know these things. So for me, I would have to say it's like an intuition. You were destined to be a woman. And you heard Cherry the Boom say this when she did her conversation with T.S. Madison on the same thing that Faith is asking, which is, I'm going to pray to God because I don't want any Christmas presents. I don't want anything. I just want to be, because I know deep down inside in my heart, I'm a woman. It's time for me to walk into that light, into that path. I don't want anything in the world. I just want to be able to walk into my woman and tap into. And that's not a crime. It's not a crime for anybody to tap into however they feel. So
Right.
walk in it. If you feel in your heart that you are a woman and you present yourself as such and you go through step by step, you surround yourself with people and they are uplifting you and encouraging you along your journey, go for it. Don't let anybody
Mm.
tell you you shouldn't belong or you don't feel because you're not. The whole conversation lately has been about who's passable, who's not passable, who's woman enough.
Right.
Who are you to tell somebody that they can't be a woman or they can't be a woman or you're doing this for this? No, deep down inside, for me, I knew it was intuition that was instinct. At 13 years old, I knew that.
When did you start your transition? Can you, if you don't mind me asking, like, when did this start for you? Because I know at 13 you couldn't actually, you know, transform at that time because you were too young. But
Yeah,
yeah, so
middle
what was that
school
process like?
going
Like,
into.
what some of the things did you do? Like, what type of procedures did you do?
Oh, I didn't do any procedures. I started changing my style. That's what I did. I started
Oh,
changing up my style and going into it. And people would just give me compliments left and right. They noticed that and then I've started standing up for myself more as well too. Started standing up for myself as well. And they noticed a shift like, wow, something different about you. I'm like, yeah, I'm not how I was in middle school. Walked all over, teased, bullied. No, we're not doing that. And so right after high school was when I graduated and I just fully became Misty. The style
got
has
you.
definitely changed. Everything, my whole persona, my whole outlook on life, because you here I am 20 years old. Now with this platform that is just in the beginning stages, and I have no idea how it's gonna be and how people were gonna receive me. And what's so crazy, Faith, is people from my high school, my classmates are looking at those pictures and they're just like, my God, we see the difference now. We see it.
Oh, okay. But
They're
let me
happy
go
now.
back. Oh, I'm sorry. Now I was gonna ask you, you said you didn't have any procedures, so because when I think of trans, I think of,
Yeah,
you're
procedures.
adding.
And that's not the case with everybody. Like the hormones
Okay.
and all of that. I don't
Oh,
take that.
hormones, right.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's not the case for you?
Mm-mm.
You're
No.
not even with the hormones?
And then
No?
I'm in the red state of South Carolina, so affirming care down here is banned in my state. So I
Mm.
choose to dress in the light of how I present, you know. Yeah.
Okay, and, don't please don't take no offense to this. I was just asking
Yeah.
because I know there's a difference between, being transgender and doing drag. So do you have people that have that pushback and saying, "Well, if you haven't done anything, you haven't transformed, like, why would you identify as transgender if you haven't went through the process or anything?"
Right. And that's the case with some people. But for
Mm.
me, I look at it as this. Drag is putting on and taking off.
Okay,
Trans is what I walk into every day. Because
okay.
even when I go out in the world, I try to make sure that I present myself as woman. And people, I'm gonna tell y'all a funny story. So my brother had a doctor's appointment one day. Oh, that's a good question.
It
I
is.
was reading the question,
Mhm.
but
Yeah. Mhm.
let me try not to get sidetracked. All
Okay,
right.
go get it. Yeah,
So
we'll get back to it.
yeah, drag, doing drag, the differences between the two. yes, there are drag performers out here who identify as trans or come out as non-binary. I think what was it? The most recent, uh, I can't remember. Was it Bob the Drag Queen? One of the two that just came out as,
Yes.
uh,
I
yes,
think
as
it's that.
trans or non-binary, whatever. You can do that. Gender is not a monolith in the queer community. You can identify however you want to identify. And it's not doing drag for me, it's not cross-dressing, it's not anything. It is presenting myself how I see myself, and that is as woman. And that's how the world sees me, even when I show up. But the story that I was going to tell you guys was uh, the bathroom situation. And so the receptionist at the front desk, she asked me, because I had on a hat, I wasn't asking Stevie, it's early in the morning, 9 a.m., and I'm at my doctor's with my doctor's appointment with my brother. And so I went in to use the restroom, and the woman, the receptionist, she was like, which restroom, men's, women's? Like she wasn't sure what to identify me as. And then when I went in the Chinese place, y'all, and again, the same hat, it was a very feminine looking hat. Like how Diane Carroll on Dynasty, that type of hat, like
Yes.
little to the side number. And the woman was like, okay, there was a woman sitting down. She had already ordered her food. I came in to get my order and everything. And she was like, oh no, I'm before her. So she didn't even have to ask. Didn't
Right.
even
She
have to
knew.
ask,
She
didn't know
knew.
me. She knew. Again, women's intuition. So people pick up on those things. I could go in the grocery store and have on a hat, anything. People will instantly know. So
Okay.
there are some trans people and non-binary people who are not fortunate. And it puts them in a dangerous situation because that's where the whole question and conversation about passability comes in. Who's passable, who's not passable, who looks more like this, who looks more like that. That's when
True.
it becomes dangerous because it's just like you're outing someone. And once that person finds out, we know that there is an increase on violence against trans, non binary, and
Yes.
pan in the
Yes.
United States of America, especially Black trans women. So we have to definitely take that serious and keep
Absolutely.
ringing the alarm bells on it. So trans non-binary, and no, I didn't have any operations, no surgery. I just started dressing into my own. So
Got it.
people who are, non-binary or gender non-conforming, whatever, they bend the rules to their extent or whatever they prefer. There's nothing wrong with that. You can do it. So yeah.
Oh yeah. So you answer that question for me?
Y'all think morality and family values are destroyed by social media and exposure towards one's sexuality? Ooh, oh my God, Jesus. That's a loaded question right
It
there.
is. It is.
And then and it touched it. You said morality and family values. As Faith said in the beginning of this conversation, which is the nuclear family. Growing up in the South, it is the heart of the Bible Belt. Let's keep it a buck.
Yes.
We know that your parents, if you have a parent or your mom, dad, whoever, who are deeply involved in the church, your great grandmother, all the way going back then, they were told, this is wrong, this is a sin. So I don't think people will be ever to get past that. I don't think people will
Right.
ever be able to get past that by looking into someone else's uh, door without looking into their own. I don't think people will ever be able to get past
No, I don't think so either because I think that the ideologies are going to remain what they are. No
and
matter
it's
what.
always been.
It's
It goes,
progression there.
yeah.
You know,
And
but
people are making, we're seeing churches now affirm queer people.
yeah.
So shout out to the churches that are affirming us in the LGBTQIA plus community that are out here not only affirming us, but we're there in the choirs. We're
Oh
there
yes,
working and
always.
preaching and having our own churches. So shout outs to my colleague Bubs the God. Maybe he can elaborate on it a little bit more. Because I mean, I've touched on it in some of my past panels and conversations on the show, which is nobody should judge anybody. Nobody has any room to judge anybody on how they choose to worship God. And I say this also as well too. I'm gonna shake the table a little.
Okay.
You can be in the queer community and you can still worship God. Because who are you to judge your neighbor? Who are you to judge your neighbor? Like, let's keep it a buck here. Like
Yeah.
everybody has their own sins. We all have our own sins.
Yes.
And
I was gonna say we're all born into
when it's
sin.
time for us to
Hmm.
go sit down with the believer, we all are gonna have to face our own judgment day sooner or later.
Yes.
So we have no room to judge anybody.
Absolutely. Because you're going to have, those Christians, people are going to have maintain a Bible-based beliefs. And so they still are going to relate homosexuality to Sodom and Gomorrah, which it doesn't have anything to do with it. They're going to always reference homosexuality when it's saying about it being abomination, but they don't realize is that homosexuality in the Bible, it wasn't referencing, same sex. It was more LStation, you know,
Yes,
SA type of thing, not, you know, PDF files, It was in that
exactly.
reference, so I think a lot of people don't, they kind of read into certain scriptures, and don't really understand the context of it, So, but I do appreciate your aspect. But I'm glad that you brought up the whole thing about, answering that question and also going into certain spaces, public spaces, because I want to get more into that. Because Jade and I talked about this as well about what. Now I want to get your aspect of what do you think about transgender in sports? Because we saw like the story about how the transgender woman was stripped of her title, because it was found out that she was trans. So do you think it's fair that trans women are taking accolades from bio women, in that sense?
My God. Ooh. Okay, and we're seeing the whole conversation with she's not in sports, but she's a singer. I forgot her name. And there's been a whole issue with the bathroom as well. That ties into this as well.
Hmm.
I'm gonna say this. No one is trying to gatekeep or take away anybody's femphobia. No, no, their femininity, I meant to say. Nobody's trying to take away anything from biological women. Trans women are just saying we're here, we exist. We're human as well too. Trans people, trans women, trans men, we're just saying we're here, we exist. So nobody's trying to strip anybody of any titles, of anything. And if anything, this is why queer people create our own spaces. This is exactly why I created Style by Stevie. And I want to give a shout out and plug my colleagues. And Faith just had my brother Demario King Jobs on the platform not too long ago, who is a big advocate in the LGBTQIA plus. And if not King Jobs, then you have my other colleague, Conscious TV. You have my other colleague, Bubs the God. You have my other colleague, Alvin Tit for Tat, this and that. I mean, it's so many of us. We're not a monolith. And there's more than enough room for us to create our own spaces. So it puts us in a dangerous situation, each and every one of us that in the trans community in a dangerous situation where people say we're taking biological women's rights away from them. Because that's how this election was won. If you go back and you look at it, he won off of transphobia. It's trans women in men's sports. It was a commercial that said you have biological men and women's sports. And this is coming from someone who's on the Republican side saying these
Mm,
things. So he won off of fear. And when you can get T.S. Madison, she said it so chef's kiss. She said it beautifully. When you can get people to align themselves on the same side of bigotry to say that it's the trans people that are
true,
taking over women's
true.
everything, then that puts a target on our back where there's already a target. Because Black trans women of color in America are the most at the stats are very high for trans women who have lost their lives. And not just trans women, but trans men. Tony McDade is an example, and so many others. So when you put that target on all trans people and say they're taking over the sports, they're doing this, they're doing that, and it's not the trans people, it puts us all in a dangerous situation. So those are my thoughts on it. I say create
Okay.
your own craft. And I think even T.S. Madison says something to the extent of, I'm not into sports, I'm into fashion. And oh, I love you too, brother. Shout outs to my brother King too. Uh,
Mhm.
yes, and I'm being Faith pulled it out of me, y'all. She giving me all because I mean I've touched on
Yes.
things like this in my show, and even on some of the panels, like when you put a blank statement on, even with the whole Tish Hyman, that's her name, Tish Hyman, when
Yes.
she went
Hmm.
and she made the statement saying that, oh well, there's men and women's locker room. First of all, Alexis is not a man. She's been transitioning since February. She's already been on moans and everything. She has the breasts, she has everything. So, no, she's not a man. And if Gold's Gym didn't have a problem with it, why do you have a problem? That's where we have a problem with what's called, how can I say it? What's the word I'm looking
But how do you
for? It's called yeah. Go ahead.
was it?
I'm
It's
sorry.
called what? It's called what? I mean,
Femphobia, fear of anything that is
info.
feminine or feminine presenting. Yes,
Yeah,
femphobia.
okay. No, I
And
was
it's
going to ask you
dangerous.
how. Yeah, how do you?
Yeah.
Because it's people. Especially women. They have. They rightfully are fearful of this climate. Especially when it comes to
Yeah.
public and being around children in public bathrooms and all that stuff. So how do you? What is your advice? What is your advice for those women and those families out there who are? How do you act? What's your assurance for them? What kind of assurance would you be able to provide for them? Those out there with children out there and people, because anybody could identify as one thing, and and they are end up being in harm's way. So I think
Girl,
that's
that part.
yeah.
Let me affirm to the biological women or any woman that trans people are not the enemy. We're not, and I've said this on my colleague Bubs the God's platform, Conscious TV's platform as well. Trans people, we're not your enemy. LGBT people, we're not your enemy. If anything, the people who are, and I won't dive into that too far. If you've watched some of my past shows, you know how I feel about that.
Yes. Yes.
The people who are in power right now are the people that we should be up against, both of us, trans, biological, LGBT, straight, however you identify, because none of this is good what they're doing. It's hurting all of us in the end result, and they use trans people as the scapegoat for your fear.
Mm.
Now you fear trans people. Now you fear anything that is other, that is not straight, that is not male. So when you can get a bunch of people all to align on the same page of bigotry, you got a problem on your hands, because it's not trans people. If you sit back and you look at it, and even shout outs to her, Jasmine Crockett,
Mm.
Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett even said it.
Hmm.
Trans people are not doing half of the things that y'all are out here saying that they're doing. We're not harming children or people in the bathrooms. We have to pee too, just like anybody else. So we're not out here harming you. Hell, we can even teach you how to um, touch up your makeup. They did that with Congresswoman Sarah McBride, who's in Congress. Nancy Mace from my city of South Carolina made a whole deal about Sarah McBride, and now they're trying to ban this woman from using the bathroom. So
Wow.
this is how far they've taken it. They're making it in legislature. In Texas, there's a bathroom ban for trans, and they almost at one point wanted to make it illegal for people identify
Ugh.
as trans. So this is how far Republicans are willing to take it. They are willing to use us as the catalyst, because people thought that it was just us that they were going to do away with. They were going to take away our rights, queer people. But no, they're coming for each and every one of us. So I want women who are watching to understand this, that we have a very big fish to fry, and it's
Right.
not trans people problem. It's not queer people that's the problem. We are all in the same boat together. And that same boat, we are all under the umbrella of patriarchy, trans
Mm.
misogyny, misogyny, racism. We're all in that boat together. So it's not all
Yes.
of us. But you know what they
Right.
say? One bad apple spoils the bunch, Faith. One of us in the
Yeah.
trans community does something, then that points a finger to all of us in the trans community. And that's very dangerous, because it's not all of
True.
us. It's just that
Right.
one person.